Hey, I have some time while I'm waiting for the EQ to spawn, so I wanted to give you guys an update. I have played Arslan Musou a little more, and I've pretty much determined it's something that I'm just not going to want to play at a high level. And there's a couple reasons for that. The main reason is the lack of a lock-on. Really makes fighting the officers more difficult than intended. Basically, like, if you lose a beat on them and they're a ranged character, you're pretty much SOL because you can't tell where they are, and they can hit you from off screen. It's not like Devil May Cry where they're not on camera and they haven't started an attack, they can't hurt you. They can hit you from a mile away off screen, and because there's no lock on, you can't really keep a good beat on them. And it doesn't help that the game has, I guess, to show off the PS4's power, it has like way more peons than like any other Muso game. It seems like there's just a whole bunch of peons, and it doesn't really go well with the shield mechanic because it takes quite a bit of effort to break the shield. But at the same time, when you have an officer, surrounded by like dozens of peons, you can't get to them safely, and you can't break the shield safely without dealing with all the peons. Like, it's hard enough to break their shield as it is, but the peons definitely make it more difficult. Sometimes if you charge shift and you try to break their shield that way, there's so many peons in the way that the officer moves out of the way, and you can't lock on. I wish the game was a little more polished, but one thing I hope that they take from it is that they'll take the mechanics that they introduced in Arslan Musou, which was like the charge shift mechanic, being able to change movesets and stuff like that. Those are really awesome ideas. That, along with being able to sprint with the horse, is what makes the game so fast-paced. You have the DW8 horse system where you just hold the button down and you automatically get on the horse. If they keep those mechanics and they touch them up a little bit, I think the game, the next game that they make will be great. But I have kind of a feeling that they're probably just gonna like abandon all those mechanics because the game didn't sell well, and they think that people don't like them. And I think it's more that just the game does not have the brand power that a lot of their other franchise Muso games have had. I'm sure most of you have never heard of Arslan, like I sure didn't before they announced it. The witch tie mechanic is definitely held back by the lack of a lock-on, simply because you can't tell where they are. Like, you can get the witch time, and they can go off camera, and by the time you find them again, your witch time is out already. And even if it's not, you're not given any super armor or invincibility frames during the witch time. So there's a pretty high chance that you're just gonna get staggered throughout like half of your witch time. It's poorly designed. I think the game it needed a little more time in the oven, basically. And it's definitely apparent by the extra content you get when you beat the game. A lot of them simply are not interesting. I mean, to put it bluntly, a lot of them are just very gimmicky. They have like some very poorly designed stealth missions, which obviously in the Muso game does not go over too well. A lot of fighting officers or messengers from across the map, running around and trying to get them and stuff like that. There's very few levels that come with the base game where you can just fight officers, and even then, the one that I did find, the one that I've been doing a lot, like that one can get pretty frustrating because it's really easy to lose track of where the officers are, and they have like very high attack frequency compared to most other Muso games. Most like mainline Muso games, like the characters, at least the officers, are like they're not very active. They attack like once in a blue moon, and that's why not having a lock on works in those games. But in this game, it's like the characters just attack way too often to not have like an actual lock on. The most you can do is you can push the guard button and reorient your camera towards them, but that doesn't mean much when they're moving around as fast as you can. So basically, I'm sorry, but it doesn't look like I'm going to be playing the game at a high level. I can just see, like, I can see myself trying to do it and just getting pissed off at the officers going off camera, or the ranged officers just taking half my health bar off from off screen when I can't find them, or having the officer just chill in 100 peons and not be able to get to them safely and get pecked constantly. I don't think it's going to be good for me. My stress levels have been really high with all the stuff I've been dealing with, this computer problems and stuff. I called them today, and it's still a couple days off. I'm kind of starting to get worried that it won't be fixed by the time that I leave next Thursday. That's kind of it's been pretty nerve-wracking. The one good thing that they said is that they were probably going to give me a discount, and they're probably only going to charge me for labor and just let me pay in installments for the motherboard, which is going to be the ideal situation. I think they feel bad. They've had it for like about 3 weeks now. It's been quite a while since they've had the PC, and they told me 2 to 3 business days, and there's just been problem after problem after problem. But you know, if I'm able to get it done for cheaper, then it's going to be worth it. And there's not much going on right now. So right now, the plan is I'll probably play Arslan a little more and see maybe if I can milk some good stuff out of it. But it just seems like it's really hard to grind without the DLC, and B, all the aforementioned issues that I just talked about really bring the game down. And I feel like I would be getting killed a lot trying to do endgame or maximization stuff on that. There's just a lot of things in the game that just don't work properly. Like the witch time mechanic and stuff like that would probably be fine if the game had lock-on, and you got at least some kind of buff, at the very least, like a damage reduction or super armor or something like that. You'd be able to use the mechanic more often, but even the peons in that game just attack so often. I think for the sake of my mental health, I'm probably not going to do it. So I'll probably play the game for the next couple days on stream, just for fun. See if I can find anything else cool in it, but I think I'm just going to can it. The game is selling for like dirt cheap physical, so if I decide to get it again and buy the DLC and attempt to do maximization and stuff, it's not going to be that much more expensive. I can get like 15 bucks for it, 14, 50 bucks for it at GameStop. And I was thinking I'm either going to put that towards Ninja Turtles, Odin Sphere, or the DMC reboot. Like, if I could get the DMC reboot for like 12 bucks, I mean, I probably wouldn't mind it. I hear it's supposed to be a pretty monumental improvement over the original game. I might be up for doing that. I'll have to put some thought into it. I have to pay, for my, I had to pay my friend for the badge. We're splitting a badge at the convention. I have to pay him the gas money. I'll have to see what else I have left. I may or may not do that before I leave. But yeah, it should be a lot better once I get back. I'm sorry. People seem to really enjoy the Arslan content, but it just seems like it's not something that I would really enjoy too much. I would probably be torturing myself doing endgame content on that. And I definitely don't need that right now. I've had a lot of stress-related migraines and anxiety and stuff like that. I need to watch my stress levels, and I think doing that is not going to be a good idea right now, especially when a lot of the damage you take in that game, it feels like it's not your fault because you can't lock on to the officers, and it's very hard to break their shield. It's even worse when you get them down to a pixel of health and their shield comes back, and you have to break their shield again, and then it kind of becomes you're repeating the cycle. You have to keep them on the camera while breaking their shield, while avoiding damage. It's pretty stressful. So we'll see what happens. I'm still going to be streaming throughout the week, barring, not having these awful headaches. I was kind of late today because I went out for lunch and go get some stuff done. But I'll be on at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, give or take, probably 2:30 at the absolute latest. So you can keep a tab open if I'm not there before 2 or at 2 on the spot. And I'll be trying to raise a little bit extra for Ninja Turtles at this point, since they pretty much said that they're going to give me a discount for the repairs because it's been way longer than they initially told me. So I hope that they'll go through with that. They said that they'd let me pay in installments for the motherboards. Basically, the cash that I have on my card right now, I can put that all towards the trip, which is pretty awesome. Anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.